If you guys have missed the news, Deshaun Watson has been named the starter for the upcoming season for the Cleveland Browns. We're going to spend the majority of today's show discussing that decision. But, I was thinking, with what we saw on the field Saturday against Buffalo, with what we've seen in practice throughout camp in Chicago, now that we know Deshaun is the starter, was it ever truly a fair competition between the two? Did Shedeur Sanders have a real shot to win the quarterback one job, or was it always Deshaun Watson?
Well, I go back and I give credit where credit is due. You know, Jason Lloyd came back from, I believe, the owners' meetings, and he said, I don't know why, guys, but they look like they want to play this man, and they're adamant on it. And after what I saw in camp, I must be adamant about what I'm looking at. To me, he didn't outplay Shedeur Sanders. I mean, early on in the practices, he was throwing 2-3 picks. I mean, he had the most picks in practice. You can't even look at his performance in the game. I mean, Shedeur, the first game against the Bears, you know, he threw an interception, but he looked better with the same people that Deshaun Watson was playing with, right? So for me, after watching his performance in practice, watching his performances in the preseason, and then hearing what he said, no, it can't be a real competition, because he's sitting there saying to himself, he basically said, when Tony Grossi asked him, hey, do you think it's hard enough to play quarterback? Do you think you can block out the noise? He couldn't give him an answer. He said, I don't know. Mm-hmm. At that point, you are disqualified from being the leader of the team.
That's equivalent of I'm seeing ghosts.
That's right. You can't be. Now when guys look at you and they boo and you play bad, they're thinking, oh, was it because you're getting booed? Did you go into the tank? Mm-hmm. If you're the leader, the CEO or the organization, the franchise face, you have to be able to go and talk to these people and say what you need to say. And guess what now? Jason, Zach, all of them, they're going to be asking questions every Wednesday. They're going to national people every Wednesday. And so, no, after you did that and you played that bad, I cannot think that was already not predetermined, because that is a disqualifying press conference. And it was a disqualifying, in my opinion, performance. So I don't know what Shedeur could have did. Throw for 5,000 yards? I mean, he never really played with the ones anyway. So at the end of the day, they have to just stand on their business. Whatever come with it, they got to accept it. There's no walking it back. They can't have had a real competition if this is what you were saying is what they want.
One thing I want to check on, just to be sure that maybe you misspoke. I didn't think that he outplayed Shedeur against Chicago.
No, not against Chicago.
I thought you said against Chicago.
No, against Chicago, I gave Deshaun Watson a B. I gave Shedeur Sanders a C.
Right.
I thought he looked really good. There was a couple days in camp.
In the late practices leading up to that game. So for about a 5-day stretch, it felt like, oh, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But then what happened Saturday, it lit all that on fire. Mm-hmm. And was this ever a fair competition? And both of you guys had been saying since March that it was going to be Deshaun.
You go first.
I thought Deshaun was going to win, but I do think that it was a competition. I thought there was a thumb on the scale for Deshaun to start. Had Shedeur completely outplayed him beginning to end, he could have won the job. Okay. I don't think he did. Did he play better than Deshaun? Yeah, you could make that argument from beginning to end that he had a better training camp.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an overwhelming amount enough to dethrone him. Does that make sense?
No, I get what you're saying. We had said if it's a tie, the champ is going to get.
And I would give it to Shedeur in a tie. I'd give it to Shedeur in any
because you're using logic. Yes.
I never want to see Deshaun take another snap. I've been adamant about that since January.
And so is that.
There's no reason to put him out there. If you're going to make me choose between these guys, it's Shedeur every time.
Unless you're just not interested in winning games.
But I do think that this tells you what they really think of Shedeur. I think this tells you.
Wow.
It does. I think it's both. I think they decided that Deshaun was probably going to be the starter. I do think Deshaun outperformed Shedeur over the last 3 weeks of camp. No, I don't think it was clear and significant. I think it was close. But after the first week, I think he was the better quarterback up until Saturday. And I don't think that the lead was significant enough for both what happened on the field and what happened after the game to not factor in. I mean, this is full toxicity that they are embracing.
Yeah, well, that's the Browns. I've heard varying opinions on the fact that Shedeur missed the coin toss. He was dubbed the captain for the week. He jokingly said in the post-game or during the game interview with the Didi that he just thought that was for the practices. He didn't realize that was for the game. He wasn't out there for the coin toss. Does that make any difference at all to anyone?
For the job, no.
Yeah, I mean, I saw people saying, this guy can't be our leader. He missed the coin toss. And I just,
No.
I mean, I thought his answer was incredibly honest. Like, I just thought that was for the practices. I didn't know it was for the game.
When you juxtapose what happened in that press conference, it's night and day.
10 times worse.
We just had a person literally say that, hey, man. And then and I got to give you this too. Like, at the end of the day, when you going through something, and I get that he doesn't like the fact that, he got cheered when he was injured. And I came out and during that time process, and I made sure that I told people I didn't agree with it. I said, you should never cheer somebody when they get injured, no matter what. And listen, I came out and said that. But at the same time, you also have to have a level of personal accountability. And my thing is, if you come out there, it's easy. All you say is, look, what about the boos? Well, listen, I got booed today because, honestly, I played like crap. I have not played up to the standards that I think I could play. And I understand people are going to boo you because of some of the circumstances that went on. What I'm here to say is I'm here to try to be a better person and prove that I'm a good person, a good football player to everybody in the organization and the fans. I understand that that's going to mean that some people is never going to accept me, but that's okay. I'm just going to continue to strive, and we have to play better. I got to play better. And if I keep playing like this, I boo me too. And guess what? You look, you say, oh, okay.
Yep.
And you move on.
Yep.
And people will say, okay. Right. And you leave it. But when you go that route, now you've given people the gasoline and ammunition to now come back, and everybody is going to get the boos. It's no different from him getting booed and the left tackle getting booed.
We don't have to relitigate the last 4.5 years. Everybody knows what happened. The only thing I will say is what I wrote this morning. He's never taken accountability for anything.
And he had a chance to
all
Saturday.
Of the off-field stuff,
he's
never accepted responsibility or taken accountability for any of it. His opening press conference, he said he had no regrets. He doesn't need counseling. Hey, everybody needs counseling, by the way. Everybody on this planet needs counseling. He said he had no regrets, doesn't need counseling. He's never taken responsibility for how awful he has been on the field since he got here. Awful. The injuries are out of his control. His performance when he's on it is within his control. He's been terrible more times than not. He's never taken responsibility for any of it. So why was Saturday going to be any different?
The discussion should be, is this a worse idea or is he a worse player? Right? And like the fact that he's the starter, it's just mind-numbing.
Todd Monken gave the right answer. The right answer is right in front of your face. Well, if you don't like the boos, go play better football.
Go play better. Don't turn the
those
ball
boos
over.
into cheers. We've seen that happen before. We've seen it a million times in the world of sports. Boos can turn into cheers very quickly if you play well.
Everybody knows what happened to Kobe Bryant. He's hailed in LA.
Absolutely.
He's a martyr now.
Absolutely.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
Earl mentioned Kareem Hunt when Kareem got here. Everything that he went through. And when he got here, they loved him when he was here.
Sure.
You can turn it around.
You got to play well.
Yeah.
But I thought in the press conference, Todd Monken walked it back. That energy he had when he said, listen, nobody want to get booed. You don't want to get booed, play better.
Yeah.
But then Monday came around, and it was like, okay, well, it was just a player who had a bad moment, and it's understandable. And I'm like, he had 2 years, though. Like, you knew this day was coming, right? Mm-hmm. You had 2 years to work with somebody to say, when the boos come, what are we going to say? And it makes me believe that's the reason we didn't speak to him for 2 years, because he may have felt this way for 2 years.
I'm sure it did.
And it was going to come out one way or another.
Yep.
This is not the second that he was they cheered when he was on that cart crying. That was, and rightfully so, devastated because of the injury. That is traumatic to certain people. There are certain things that people will never get over.
What did we all say the next morning? That was his last snap.
That was it.
The Browns.
That was the last.
That was it.
For 31 other teams, that would have been true.
I was just going to say, in the conventional wisdom world, it was easy for us to say that because A, he had been playing poorly, B, he was injured and we knew it was going to be a long road to rehab, and C, they were cheering him. And so any organization in their right mind would say, this is over. We can't possibly rehabilitate this guy physically and mentally to get him to a point where he can put his cleats on the grass and overcome the boos.
They should have cut him after 24. I've been screaming for 2 years.
Yeah.
Cut him. Don't tell me you can't. You can. The Broncos figured it out. There have been other teams with massive cap hits because you were going to be terrible.
Can you now?
No, now you can't because now the cap hits will bleed into, like, they actually have a good young nucleus here that you're excited about. You got a lot of young players, and I've maintained for weeks. I actually think 27, next year, I could see you just being a wild card team.
Yeah.
But not if you're dragging around these massive cap hits in 27 and 28 that you're now going to have. You knew the contention window closed the minute he got hurt. It was over. It was realistically over before that. It was really over when he got hurt.
Sure.
You knew you were going to be bad.
And they tried to run it back.
So be bad, take the cap hits, flush this, and then when you put this thing back together, you're rid of that. They're still not rid of it. What is it, $125 million? They're still on the
Well, it's 40 this year. His cap number is 40 this year.
No.
But
going
for next
forward,
year, isn't it 80?
It's 86. So it's 126 million
So
altogether.
they still owe 125 million against their books on this man.
You know what's crazy?
Yes.
We throw those numbers around like they're numbers.
Bro.
But just stop for 1 second and think about $125 million. That number is, I mean, we speak of it in football terms and we're like, boom, there it is. It's just another stat. I don't know how they overcome this. I don't.
Well, that's why they're not cutting him. That's why.
Well,
But even still, like, he's going to be a non-producer next year and the year after, and we still have cap money.
yeah, because you made that choice by constantly rolling this over and lessening the hit each year. Yes, they made that choice. If you look at the long-term plan, which you're still free to look at with equal parts optimism in the young players and skepticism because this is the most important position in sports, right? Next year is the year they're going to get back to spending. But if they were to cut him, they already know what he is supposed to account for next year. You would have to add $50 million onto that, and that's the $50 million that they plan to spend.
It all goes back to the decision that Baker Mayfield wasn't good enough, and we need a new guy in here. And I said at the time, it's going to set him back 10 years.
Yeah, Jay, but they decided Baker was toxic. That was their decision.
Yeah.
They decided Myles Garrett was toxic. This guy is so clearly toxic, and they just said, please come start for us.
Because it's toxic soil.
Yes.
That's why.